Okay, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Chris Bradley, and today we're going to talk about the 5 traits that I feel will guarantee your success. Now look, this isn't going to be another one of those videos for some guy on the internet trying to tell you how to be successful, because success looks different for everybody. But I do firmly believe that if you apply these 5 traits, then you will achieve your level of success, your version of success, whatever that looks like. If it's, being able to wake up in the morning, have breakfast with your kids, take them to school and pick them up as well without being constrained by a work schedule or someone else telling you what to do. It could be that you just want to make stacks and stacks of money, and that's fine. But if you apply these 5 traits, you will make a lot of money. And by the way, this has come from someone who isn't a dad, doesn't have kids, but is also not married to his business. I love business. I love my business, but I also love my life, and my business is not my personality. So hopefully these 5 traits of success is a little bit different from anything else that you see out there in the internet. So just a quick introduction, not the whole sob story, not my X Factor backstory. My name's Chris Bradley, and I have achieved relative success in the fitness industry from being a personal trainer, having my own gym, online coach, and now a business coach for fitness professionals. I have built a relative success for myself, my family, me, my wife, and my friends, and all that good stuff. And I've also helped personal trainers, online coaches, gym owners do the same. So I'm kind of in a good position to talk about this. Ultimately, these 5 traits, the idea came to me when I was thinking about our clients who have the best results, in our service. And when I looked at the whole list of our clients and all the most successful success stories we've got, they always had these 5 traits in common. So I want you to think about it. I want you to think about the traits that you love seeing in someone and the traits that you're proud of in yourself. And actually, it's not about copying other people's traits. It's about going, okay, I'm going to study that trait because there's a clear breadcrumb of success for people who have that trait. And honestly, number 5, I'm not saying this for you to stick about the video, by the way, this isn't some YouTube tactic, but number 5 is by far my favourite. I was going to make it number 1, but I'm making it number 5 so that I can end the video on that. So let's get stuck in. So trait number 1 is radical ownership. The business owners, the people who take absolute complete ownership of their lives are the ones that are the most successful. Now, I spoke about this on my Instagram story, but there is people out there these days who they pay for a service, whether it be a personal trainer, a gym membership, a business coach, or whatever it is. And because they have a transaction where they hand over money, they expect in the transaction of money that they also give them the ownership of that thing. Now, the funny thing is that if something goes wrong and they don't get the result that they wanted, then they point fingers and they blame. However, when they do get amazing results, the person who gets them the result or helps them doesn't get the reward. For example, I'm a business coach. If someone signs up to our agency and they make a lot of money, and of course I get paid, but they make a lot of money. They take all that money, they take the ownership of that money. Now, if they don't do well, then they don't take ownership and they pass the blame. The people who don't take ownership, this is, by the way, and this disarms the person who is getting help. This is the same with personal trainers. People pay for a personal trainer and they think to themselves, okay, I've paid for a personal trainer. If this doesn't work out, it's on them. And that thought process dictates the way that you act and feel, because you think to yourself, I have done something about my problem, when in actual fact, you're just paying for guidance and support and accountability. You're the one that has to stop eating all that rubbish. You're the one that has to move your body to burn calories. So when I looked at our clients that were the most successful, they always took radical ownership. When something goes wrong, they literally think to themselves, what could I have done differently? How can I act better next time? What can I say differently? Who do I have to be in that scenario the next time? They do not point fingers and blame each other. Now, this happens a lot with coaches, personal trainers, for the first few years of coaching, because you don't really know what you're doing. And sometimes you blame yourself. And because someone pays you money, you kind of start to blame yourself. You go, what should I have done? How could I do that better? And if you get clients who are very demanding, and like I say, they hand over ownership of their body to you because they give you money, you can see why you start to eat away at yourself and you lose your confidence. This is the same for any service-based business. What you've got to realise is if you're a coach and you have clients, you don't have ownership of their fitness journey. You are just helping them. It's a collaboration, it's a collaborative effort for them to get the results that they need. Now, by all means, they have paid you, so you have to work together and you have to deliver on the promise that you said to them when they first signed up. But the ownership is on them 100%. The next part of it is actually proactive problem solving. So what often happens with people who get average results in life and success is that when a problem occurs, they sit there and they just think, that's it. someone can't lose fat. They just stay still. They don't try and change anything. They kind of look at blaming things or blaming other people, and they don't actually have this problem-solving attitude. And the great thing is that when you take ownership, which by the way doesn't feel great because it's like there's no one to blame. Blaming people is easy. It feels good. But when you take full ownership, you have to have a lot of internal questions up here, which goes a little deep, and it exposes your lack of skills in certain areas. So it's very, very easy to just blame people, because that's the easy option. But when you think in here and you start to go through the motions and get used to reflecting and used to having ownership, you actually have the power. So although it doesn't feel great to take ownership, you get the tools back and you're actually armed with how to move forward in this situation. As I said before, it's very disarming when you blame other people, because you don't have if you're blaming someone, then you don't have control. Whereas if you actually take ownership, you've got complete control, and therefore you can start to think about how you can get yourself out of this situation that you find yourself in. Trait number 2 is selective stubbornness. Now, this is a funny one, because if you asked me 2 years ago that I would be putting this in one of my most successful traits of a person or a business owner, I'd have probably laughed, because I've watched a lot of videos, you Gary Vee and all these people, and it's like, say yes to everything, every opportunity that comes, everything that you're doing. Then I saw a video, like I think it was about 6 months ago, from Alex Hormozi, and he was like, you have to go into a season of no. And what he meant by that is, like, you have to have a period of time where you say no to people. And Alex gets a lot of stick for this, because he often talks about, like, get rid of your friends and family from school, get rid of people from back home, because he's kind of cut cords with that. And that's fine, everybody's different. But I do agree to the extent where you have to be in a position or a season where you say no to things, and you have to be quite stubborn about it. What's funny is people love to identify themselves as being stubborn, but it's at things that don't even matter. It's like, I'm going to leave those dishes lying until my other half goes and cleans them. Like, it's like stubbornness that doesn't matter. When you want to be truly stubborn is when you protect your energy, your environment and your time. That's what you want to be proud of with stubbornness. So you have to have selective stubbornness, because you only have so much time in the day, and as you grow your business and as more people get to know you, the temptation to give everybody a piece of you because you love it is higher. So then you have to have this selective stubbornness where you just say the words no to people. This is especially true for the first few years of growing, because you're so hungry for success that you'll just do anything, but it actually sends you on another path away from your actual path that you're on for success, and the reason that you got on the path in the first place. So you end up going down all these routes. Now, by the way, success is never just, this is the path, go there. It happens, but hopefully by me reminding you and thinking about people who are successful, they always have these seasons of no, as he calls it. And so I want you to think about that. When was the last season of no you had, so that you can install that trait in? Because I guarantee you'll have way less distractions and you'll get to the goal quicker. Trait number 3 is calculated rebellion. Now, this is something that when we read on our business, when we rebranded, one of the things that we looked at is, like, we're very rebellious with our market. I want to be even more rebellious, but the world's a bit soft, so we're having to take it slowly. The whole point of being rebellious in your approach to life and as a trait of yours is not to be the loudest in the room or anything like that, but it's to follow your path, stick to your values, but do it in a way that you're unapologetic about it. The real winners in business and life are the ones that don't follow the playbook. They're the ones that write their own. We're the first ever M&R agency in the world. We're the only monthly recurring revenue agency in the world, because I was sitting for a few years just going like, oh yeah, I'm different, I've got my own story and things like that. And it's like, well, are you? But you're selling the same thing. Now, by the way, just because I changed the M&R agency and we're doing really well with it, I'm hardly the next Amazon or Apple and stuff like that. But you have to look at these companies and how they operate for you to be like, that's the North Star, man. That's how you want to act. And I just looked and sat back and was like, right, what kind of marketing, what kind of ideas and what kind of stuff do I love absorbing? It always came back to rebellious, disruptive stuff. And so for me, yeah, I mean, you might think that that's a trait that personally I love, but I also see it in other people, other business owners. Now, they might not be crazy disruptive and stuff, but they're still rebellious in their own way. And how you be rebellious isn't just about being noisy, it's about being different, actually having your own path. So much so that you don't even know you're doing it. It's just the way that you are. And I love that. When everyone zigs, you zag. When I think of social media these days, I scroll on Instagram. Honest to God, it's never been worse for just, there is no original content anymore. None. It's just all the same things, all the same people doing the same stuff, and it really does get to me. And I think that's why when people come to us and they're struggling for sales and struggling to grow their business, the first thing my head always goes to is, well, you're just blending in with everyone else. You have to be more rebellious. You have to zig when everybody else zags. Trait number 4 is comfortable competence. Now, this might seem strange, but one of the things that you can do in business is to be an all-rounder as you learn skills and develop and reinvest in stuff, is you can become good at a lot of things. things. And obviously me being an agency owner and stuff like that, I've had to do a lot of it myself, and in that process I've wasted a lot of time doing things that I definitely should have handed off, but I've gotten quite good at stuff. Now, even though I've got quite good at things, you often get drawn to the things that you love. So like, I love visual stuff, so I'm creating a wee of things, but really the stuff that I don't like is metrics and tracking and stuff like that, and that's the stuff that moves the needle. So I can either get better at that, or I can hand it off, or I can get good at it, face it, and realise that I'm never going to be great at it, and then hand it off. So my whole point of this is you've got to get comfortable with incompetence. You can sit there and get frustrated when you're not going to be great at something. Now this comes into like personality traits and things like that, and I'm not saying that if you're terrible at something just hand it off, because that might not serve you. What I'm saying is get an understanding of why it's so important, learn the basics, learn the understanding of it, then by all means like hand it off and understand that's just something that you're quite incompetent at. And the reason I say all of this is really just a bit of a guise for the business owners out there who think they have to be good at everything, because in that process of thinking you have to be good at it, you're wasting time, energy, effort, you're getting frustrated, and really you're not stepping into the zone where you're great. That's the biggest point here. So if you realise that, by the way, that thing that you're not going to be great at, it doesn't really matter in the long run anyway. Let's stick to your area of genius and let's get a basic understanding of that and then hand it off. Because here's the thing as well, when you get your basic understanding of it and you start to hire team members, you can also hold them to account because you actually know the process. Can't tell you how many people I've helped with business owners, like they've hired team members and the team members are just running wild because they just report back this basic stuff that the business owner doesn't even know what they're saying, and they're wasting money on these members of staff, and it's costing the business a lot of money. So comfortable incompetence, remember that whenever you're terrible at something, and just be like, right, I don't have to be super competent, I just have to understand that right now I'm incompetent and I just have to know the basics. Because we see it with coaches all the time, and it's like, I have to be amazing at content, systems, this, and the whole thought of it is the thing that the reason I'm not growing, because they spend all this time on this thing trying to get good at it. It's like, no, you just have to be competent. Right now, you have to be comfortably incompetent, because that's the mindset you need going into all these things. And number 5 is relentless curiosity, my absolute favourite. I pride myself on this trait. I think it's probably why it's my favourite trait. But when I meet a person, when I meet a coach, and they're so curious about processes, about understanding things, about why you do stuff, that's the big thing. It's like, why? Like when I'm watching a show, when I'm out, like it's quite tiring at times, but I'm very, very curious as to why things happen. And I think that's why I love marketing, because I love that you can create something that changes people's behaviour and psychology. And it's like, well, how has that happened? How are they doing this? And that curiosity leads to so many doors opening, because the how ends up turning into learning, which turns into you applying things. You know, no, I'm not talking about watching Netflix and then you're going to be successful, but that curiosity that you can have allows you to go down a path of discovery. And when you discover things, you learn things, and when you learn things, you keep stacking your skill sets, and that's when you become really, really valuable to the world, and more importantly, the customer that you serve or the people in your life, because you're attractive to be around because you spent time being curious about certain stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, there is an element of this where you're chasing shiny objects and things like that, so you've got to be careful with it, but just ask yourself, like, when was the last time I was really, really curious about stuff? And if the answer is like a long time ago, the chances are you're not passionate, you're not finding your fulfillment. So let's fix that first, and then spend your life being able to be curious about life, be curious about stuff. A perfect example of this is like when I think like the tech that's filming this video right now. I get curious by it. I get curious when I see someone getting 500,000 views on YouTube. I'm like, how are they getting those views? Like, what's the process of it? I'm a million miles from that, but like the whole point I'm trying to say here is that if you're just curious in life, then you'll find your path to discovery quicker. You will learn stuff, and therefore you'll be more valuable to the world, because that's all success is, really. It's being valuable to the world. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed those 5 traits of being successful, of finding success. Let me know in the comments if there's any traits that I missed that you feel are very, very important. Obviously you have personal traits, you have stuff like trust and hard work and all that sort of stuff, absolutely. I just felt these were like 5 traits when I go a couple of levels deeper, when you really start to see someone's character. Hope you enjoyed the video. You've now got a choice. You either like, comment or subscribe. Preferably subscribe. I don't even know if like or comment does anything, but if you have any questions on the whole trait stuff, let me know. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate your time.